Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user Oxy Family Issues. I, 23 female, caught my cousin, 26 male, stealing my dad's OxyContin not hours after my dad died. I'm so furious I banned him and his family from the funeral. My family is upset and trying to get me to change my mind. I have no words to describe how furious I am right now. My dad died from pancreatic cancer 3 days ago. He was diagnosed 2 weeks ago and spent all of the first week and a half in the hospital until the doctors told us to take him home. He spent the last part of his life in hospital care, unable to talk and in horrible pain. I was the only one with him when he passed, and it wasn't easy. Having to hold his hand and soothe him in his final moments was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. We're a big Hispanic family, so we had lots of family coming in and out of the house last week. Several stopped by the day he died, one of which included my constantly in trouble cousin. Long story short, I caught him looting and ransacking the bathroom and the room my father passed in, looking for the OxyContin my dad was prescribed for his palliative care. Keep in mind, he was prescribed a substantial amount, and now I can't effing find it. I lost my crap, hit and screamed at him, and all but chased him out of the house. I'm furious, and since I'm the one planning the funeral, I've banned him and his enabling family from the funeral. I'm so angry and so upset that they'd let him not only disrespect my dad by ransacking his things, but defended him after the fact. When I called my aunt to confront her about what her son did, she defended him and said he would never do such a thing and that I must have seen something else. Since I decided to ban them, I told my closest aunt and uncle to give them the news that we do not want them there, and that if they are seen anywhere near the church or the funeral home, the police will be called. I'm now being bombarded by my family members telling me that it's not right for me to ban them from the viewing and funeral, and that I'm being way too hard on them considering my dad loved them. If my dad had caught them doing any of the things I caught their son doing, he would have thrown him out the door on his ass. Period. I'm refusing to budge on this. However, my mom, who's been kind of out of it since the death, is now sort of gently prodding that maybe we should relent and allow them in. My siblings and I are generally united, except for my sister, who thinks that maybe we should allow them to attend if my cousin agrees to turn over what he stole and apologizes to our family. Am I being too hard on them? I'm just so angry. I don't think I can forgive it. Well, OP, first of all, I am so sorry for your loss. It must have been incredibly hard just going from nothing to 2 weeks and your dad is gone. So I'm really sorry that you and your whole family had to go through that. Now, regarding your cousin, what he did was effed up. I would definitely be just as angry as you. And I do understand that addiction makes people do things that are just horrible. But the reason why I think you should stand your ground on this is because his family is enabling it. You know what you saw and now you can't find the pills, but his mom refuses to accept that his boy is an addict. Unfortunately, you can't force someone to clean themselves up or go to rehab or something because it's just gonna be a waste of time for them unless they actually want to do it. So you can't put that as a condition for allowing them to come back in. But I do see your sister's point of him apologizing because at least he would be accepting that he did something and he would be saying it out loud. And if that happens, hopefully his family will stop enabling him. So in summary, yeah, keep the ban as long as they don't do anything to correct the situation. And then think about lifting the ban if he does give the pills back and apologize publicly to your family. I think that's what I would do in your situation, but also I'm not going through the grieving process that you are going through right now. And what do you guys think? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they had to say. Rovel Lobster says, quote, "We should allow them to attend if my cousin agrees to turn over what he stole and apologizes to our family." End quote. I think this is the correct route to go. 1. It shows everyone in your family that you had reason to be mad. 2. It solves drama and in a way that makes him look bad and not you. 3. It means that you don't take crap from his family for this. 4. It puts pressure on your cousin from your family to return the drugs and admit to his wrongdoing as opposed to that pressure only coming from you. 5. You can still not forgive him. You can still never invite him to things. You can still exclude this person from your life from now on. However, it solves the immediately cluster F and avoids the drama that it might perpetuate. And as a side note, assuming he admits guilt, I would absolutely ban him from your house. Coste10 says, stay strong, this is huge. I could never even look at your cousin if I were you. This was extremely disrespectful, and no, none of them should be allowed in anything involving your father. Edit. P.S. I'm Hispanic, and this is why I'm so flabbergasted. You pull some crap like this with my family, and boy, you're getting shunned from everyone unless you're sincerely begging for help for the addiction problem. And OP responds, I don't ever want to see his face again. If he sees me, my advice for him is to run. The family that were closest to my dad are 1000% on board with what I'm doing, especially because they refuse to apologize. Half-6 says, I would hold the ban for the cousin unless he apologized and admitted to it, but it seems a step too far to ban his family as well. I know they enabled and defended him, but presumably they also loved your father and are generally good people otherwise. Denying them the chance to properly say goodbye to a loved one seems disproportionately cruel, though I completely understand why you would want to do this. I think, years down the line, you might regret not letting your family come. Certainly more than you would potentially regret letting them come. Dealing with your cousin's behavior is an issue for another time. Let your family grieve. Additional information from OP's comments. The thought of him being at the funeral literally makes my jaw clench. I cannot stand the thought of him or any of them showing their faces at an event meant to be about respect and honoring my dad when they crapped all over it by letting their disgusting excuse for a son disrespect him. I know my mom wants us to forgive him and let them come, but I'm just so angry. This feels like a literal slap in the face. I know her feelings matter, but aren't our feelings valid too? My cousin's mom is my dad's younger sister. They were tight, but they were more distant in recent years because of my cousin and my dad's disagreement on how they were letting him go. So much drama, I'm sure I don't need to tell you how it is. Basically, when you cover up for someone that was blatantly being a F-wad and accuse your family of being liars, you did something wrong. Sorry, I don't enable stealing or drug dealers and addicts. His trifling low-class bitch ass can do whatever the F he wants, far away from me and my family. And for those wondering why all of his family is banned, they're banned because of their hellspawn's complete lack of respect towards my father, their enabling behavior and disregard for my family in support of their disgusting son. I personally don't give an F about what someone wants to do. Ruin your life if that's what you're all about. Have at it. I ain't no one's boss, and I sure as F am not his mother. But if that's what he wants to do, and he's going to try and not only steal from us, but fake says he cares in order to try and carry out his theft, he can go F right off. He has zero respect for our family, and that's what this is about. I refuse to be anyone's effing doormat, and I refused to let anyone disrespect my own. If I relent, only his mom and dad are coming. He'd better stay far away. Okay, so the community is divided. Some are supporting OP's choice, and some are saying that maybe she should relent given certain conditions. And given the context, we can totally tell that OP is very angry, and rightfully so. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. To start off, thank you to everyone who PM'd me and commented offering their condolences for my dad's death. I appreciate it very much. For those that asked me if I was sure my cousin was looking through my dad's things, looking for drugs, I can 100% assure you that he was. Drawers were pulled out, cabinets were flung wide open. When I caught him in the act, he was actually rummaging through the pockets of the pants my dad was wearing when he passed. So yes, I'm very sure that he was after the drugs. Also, as some of you suggested in the comments of my post, I talked to my mom about the possibility that hospice took the drugs, and she told me that they got rid of all the morphine and lorazepam. The OxyContin was untouched, and it was hidden in a very specific drawer, which I found opened. It's safe to say that I know he took them. Anyway, the update. So, I was all set to stick to my guns and prevent them from attending. However, I got a call from my abuelita, and I agreed to bring her some dinner and talk with her. I know she's been taking my dad's death really hard, and I didn't want to do it, but I still felt like I had to hear her out. I sat down with her and had a long conversation, and some things came out that I didn't know before. My aunt, the one that I banned from the funeral, actually bailed my dad out of jail once when he was a very young man and had a problem with alcohol. She paid for his attorney and legal fees and everything, and I guess the experience is what helped my dad get his crap together and straighten his life out. I never knew any of this because my dad swore her and the rest of my family to secrecy. I suspect he was ashamed since he worked so hard to keep me and my siblings on the straight and narrow. Now, I know Abuelita would never lie about something like that. She also told me that she understood how I felt, but my aunt was a huge part of my father's life, and that she wanted all of her children there, and that being so angry and taking my anger out on other people would do nothing to bring him back. I kind of broke down. She was right. When I wasn't angry, when I wasn't busy, and once I was left with just myself, all I felt was exhausted and I don't know. I don't even know how to describe a feeling that goes beyond heartbreak. Someone here commented that it was like a grief that puts a death of itself in you. That commenter was 100% right. Anyway, Abuelita wanted it and my mom wanted it. My siblings and I reluctantly agreed to lift the ban, and my aunt told my other aunt and uncle that we had changed our minds. However, we would really appreciate it if the cousin did not attend. The viewing was yesterday, and of course, they brought their crapback son with them. He acted like a straight fool. While he had the common sense to avoid me like the plague, he had the effing nerve to act like he was torn up, made a show of kneeling by the casket and so on. Oh, then he proceeded to go get crap-faced at the bar next door. He promptly returned to the funeral, wandered into the room where refreshments were being served, and, when my brother said something snide to him, a pushing match ensued in which an entire tray of desserts went crashing to the floor. My uncle promptly strong-armed both of them out the door and told them both not to bother coming to the funeral service the next day if they couldn't act right. Which I don't blame him for. My siblings were under strict instruction not to engage with him in any foolishness. Douchebag cousin didn't show up to the service, but his parents did. The service went far smoother than the viewing. I gave the eulogy and we all said goodbye to my dad. Everyone's gone now. I don't feel angry anymore. Now I just feel really sad. I'll be missing my father forever. I'd consider speaking to my aunt again, but I'm more receptive to my uncle. He was the one that came to personally apologize to my mom for my cousin's behavior. For that, I'm grateful. Anyway, now I know that blood is not thicker than water. My family can do whatever they want regarding my cousin, but I am finished with him. Thanks again for all your support. Well, P, once again, I'm sorry for your loss, and thankfully you can now move on without that idiot in your life anymore. Thanks for sharing, OP, and take care. Now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice, and it's by user Throwaway Mr. Fantastic. My 32 female girlfriend went berserk and began threatening breakup when I, 34 male, suggested a prenup. In need of advice. I'll try to keep the details brief. My girlfriend, 32 female, and I, 34 male, have been dating for 2.5 years. I've never been married and have no kids. I have been employed with no gap in employment for the past 9 years, and I'm currently a second-year law student. I have approximately $500,000 in assets and cash with no debt. My girlfriend has been married once, which ended in divorce approximately 5 years ago, and has a 6-year-old child. She has been employed for the past 2 years and has no assets. She's never told me, nor have I ever asked, how much cash she has. I don't think she has much debt, as she's told me once before that she has a good credit score. We talked about our relationship goals in the first 6 months of the relationship, and I told her I wanted to marry and have a family one day in the future. She had made it apparent that this is what she wanted as well. Over the past year, every time we see each other, she's been bringing up marriage at an increasing and more pressuring rate. I told her earlier this year that I would get her a ring before the end of the year, and that we would get married after I finished law school. It felt like every time we see each other, my statement went in one ear and out the other, because she'd bring it up again and would state that she wanted to move the relationship forward and felt like I was keeping it at a standstill. Last Sunday, we had a good day together. Then she brought up marriage again. She stated that I didn't talk about us getting married and she didn't think I'd thought about it. I reminded her again of how I was going to get her a ring before the end of the year. We'd get married when I got done with law school, and how I tell her this every time we have this conversation. She then mentioned again that she didn't believe I thought about it at all and asked me to tell her something specific I have thought about. While I admit this probably wasn't the best time to bring it up, I told her I'd thought about a prenuptial agreement. At this point, she went berserk, got in her car and left, and immediately called her mom informing her of the situation. She's been increasingly cold with me since and has said drop the prenup or our relationship is over. One major thing I wanted in the prenup is that any future business that I start is mine, any future business she starts is hers, and any business we start together would be 50-50. I plan on starting a law firm and have many business ideas that I would like to venture into. While I plan on staying married for life, I don't want to risk any business I start getting ruined in the event of a divorce. Also, this is my side of the story, but here are a few things throughout the relationship which have made me wary. 6 to 9 months into the relationship, I found out she was looking her ex-husband up on Facebook first thing in the morning, midday, and night. She's told me that I was sent to her by God and that she was going to be with me forever no matter what. At one point, she stated that I could mess up and do anything and she'd still stay with me. This is when I confronted her about her looking her ex up when I found out. I brought this statement up recently and she said this is before she realized how selfish I was regarding the prenup. After I met her child, he's been with us everywhere we go. I could probably count on my 2 hands the free times we've had together with just me and her. I could add more, but that is some of the bigger things I can think of. So what do you guys and gals think? Well, OP, in my opinion, you could have kinda stopped the post when you said she just freaked out about you proposing a prenup, and then gave you the ultimatum of either the prenup or the relationship. I would say at this point, neither, and just get out of that relationship. I think that prenups have to be equally agreed upon, just like having children or any other big couple decision. This is clearly a big point of contention for the two of you, so I would say this is the end of the relationship. And also, in my opinion, ultimatums don't help foster the environment a healthy couple should have. Now, on this one, I'm gonna skip reading the comments because they were basically all saying the same, you guys don't belong together. So let's move on with the update to see how this story ends. Thanks for all of the helpful comments on my original post. Before I tell you what happened, some of you requested some information on her. She's an elementary school teacher and has made the claim that she is independent and doesn't need or want a man to support her. She stated that when I start a law firm, I wouldn't have many clients starting out and her salary would be paying the bills. I reminded her that I have over a year's salary set aside for this and would go back to my current profession if that were to happen, because just as she stated, I also don't need to be supported. Anyway, this was her biggest reasoning and believed her statement was right and mine was wrong. My girlfriend and I continued arguing over this situation and both wouldn't budge on our demands. I told her I wasn't marrying without a prenup, she stated she's not marrying with a prenup involved. I asked her to take a week or two to conduct some research on a prenup as it can be good for both parties. I let her know that she would have to get her own lawyer to represent her interests as well, and it's not a one-sided deal. I explained certain situations that could happen where we'd both benefit in the event of a divorce, and how hopefully it would be a document that would be stored away and never looked at again. She stated with a very bad attitude that she would, which I lean not to believe due to her tone of voice. We haven't texted or called one another since Saturday. After reading the comments on my original post and speaking with a few friends, I believe my mind is made up. I'm going to give her all of her stuff back that she has at my place and call it quits. I'm not caving to getting married without a prenup and I doubt her mind will change. And even if her mind does change, I just feel it's better this way. At this point, I'm actually feeling pretty good about it. Alright OP, well I can't say I'm surprised, but at least you can move forward and so can she. Thanks for sharing and all the best in the future. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.